Welcome back to the channel, and for those who are new here, my name is Phil and I'm the Ordinary Watch Guy. I'm perfectly ordinary, but the watches are always special. So today what I want to do is a completely subjective video, and I'm just going to run through a number of the big watchmakers. In fact, I'm going to look at 5, and I'm just going to give you my overall take about what these brands mean to me and how they come across when I see them on people's wrists. It might just stimulate a little bit of discussion. It doesn't make my view right or wrong, but hopefully it just stimulates a bit of thought. I've got an experience of all of these brands to a greater or lesser extent, and some of them I own. I'm looking at their immediate catalogue really, but they're just my thoughts, and admittedly at times a bit tongue-in-cheek. For objectivity, I'll tell you if I own one of their watches. So let's get into it. Okay, let's bite the bullet and just go straight into Rolex. If I see a Rolex on somebody's wrist, I'm none the wiser as to whether they're a particular watch person or not. To be honest, you know, Rolex has become more of a brand icon than a watch icon, in my opinion. I'm gonna take an assessment, look at that person and kind of think, you know, are they wearing the other brands, Louis Vuitton, Prada, Gucci? That might give me an indication as to whether they're going to be oblivious to the idea of what their watch means, or whether they're just wearing it for a bit of brand kudos. I'm going to look and also kind of get a judgment as to whether that watch is brand new, or if it's worn and a little bit battered. You know, is it an heirloom piece? Is it an inheritance piece? If I'm looking at somebody who's wearing a GMT Master 2, a Pepsi or a Batgirl, one of the really red hot pieces, and they're dressed in the latest fashions, I'm going to presume that they're quite wealthy, obviously, but probably also oblivious to watches. I'm probably not going to start a watch chat with them. The modern Rolex brand for me is kind of preoccupied with that Louis Vuitton, Gucci, Prada circle, and it feels distanced from the old Rolex image of being a top tool watch that then just happened to offer some bicolor, sparkly top-end pieces as well. And I love the older Rolex stuff. I'm going to say the faded ghost bezel Pepsi GMT, the heirloom watches on leather straps. But buying Rolex is fraught with difficulty, as Rolex is the #1 brand of choice for counterfeiters, even if most of those fakes are pretty dreadful and quite obvious. I'll be honest, I'm a little bit wary of the new stuff, and the problems of demand and wait lists are still kind of in the AD system, but I think that situation is definitely improving. My Rolex pick right now is the simple 41mm Oyster Perpetual with a blue dial for about £5,500 MSRP, but I also like the Explorer 2 with the black dial for £8,500. Disclaimer, I don't own a Rolex. Omega. Omega has a strong fan base. They can be pretty hardcore at times. And yeah, I'll be honest, I'm a bit of a fanboy myself. My dad was always an Omega guy and still is. I'm kind of saddened by how much more expensive their watches have been getting. I think it's the brand for people that want to cross the street from Rolex and go the other way. But it would be better if Omega as a brand wasn't defined by that reputation quite as much as it is. Without losing my fanboy membership card, I think they're short of a really elegant dress watch option, something like the Jaeger Coupe Master Ultra Thin, but more affordable. And by the way, I think Zenith do have that watch. I think the Zenith Elite Classic, which is £5,500, is the option there. Omega would argue that the Globemaster does this job, but at 12.6mm of case thickness, it doesn't for me. I think that case thickness is acceptable on a diver, on a sports watch, on a GMT, but not on a dress watch. Nevertheless, Omega's lineup is formidable and their history is incredible. And if I meet people wearing Omega, it provokes conversation. Because I'm a customer of Omega, I feel that there is that connection. Do Rolex owners feel that same vibe with each other? Hit me in the comments if you're a Rolex owner and you can answer that. It's a really tough choice out of this catalogue, but my choice would be the first Omega in space on a brown or black leather strap for £7,100. Breitling. I think Breitling are having a moment. Their sales figures from 2024 don't reflect this, but their range is super attractive and I mean genuinely exciting. I love going into the Breitling boutique right now. Breitling used to be the brand for this guy. They used to be a bit of a ladies' man's watch, or for someone that fancied themselves as such. But I think they've reined that in a bit, and their modern image is much more refreshing, and they're trying to appeal to a younger customer audience as well. It has to be said, these guys are not giving away watches. You need to be spending at least £4,500 at MSRP to get your hands on anything at all. But this being said, the Top Time B31 is a great looking watch, in my opinion. The range right now is fantastic, quite comprehensive, with beautifully designed dials, a real array of daring colours used in tasteful combinations, and a number of bracelet and strap options. I see Breitling being a company that has rebirthed itself, and I feel that it's fresh and vibrant now. They've got rid of the stuff that needed to go, and they've carried the heritage, the important stuff of their brand forward with them. Wearing a Breitling is definitely a status symbol. My pick would be the Navitimer Automatic GMT 41 for £5,100. I'd take that in the ice blue. But the Premier B01 Chronograph 42 is also very eye-catching, if a little bit more expensive, for £7,350. Chopard are one of the very few family-owned watch companies out there. My experience of their boutiques is absolutely top drawer, and their range is compact but compelling. The Mille Miglia is a watch that I'm very much drawn to, and the 40.5mm classic chronograph with the Verde Chiaro dial, a pistachio green, is actually a watch that, all values being equal, I would take in front of the Rolex Daytona. That might sound ridiculous to some, but we're all allowed our hot takes. Maybe you want to tell me yours in the comments below. My choice from Chopard would come from the Alpine Eagle line. They got the memo about spectacular dials, and the bank-busting Alpine Eagle 41SL Cadence 8HF would be my nod at an incredible £22,500 MSRP. This, however, is a very, very special watch that runs at 57,600 vibrations per hour and still delivers a staggering 60 hours of power reserve. The camera doesn't share the brilliance of the dial either, and the whole thing is built in titanium. For me, Chopard is the watch for a very self-assured person who counts on the fact that you either know Chopard or that's your problem, and they don't actually care. They really aren't bothered, and Chopard is simply one of the most stylish watchmakers out there doing it. Developmentally, I'd like to see Chopard broadening their range, and I think they could make an absolutely killer dress watch as an entry point to the brand. I do own a Chopard. I have the Monaco Grand Prix de Historique. And yeah, it's definitely a brand that I've got a soft spot for. Grand Seiko. I'm a huge fan of Grand Seiko, and I think that ultimately they're a company that could consume the watch industry in the way that Japanese brands have the ability to do. The engine room of a Grand Seiko is almost impossible to fault. You can have a high beat mechanical, a 9F quartz, which loses only 5 to 10 seconds a year, or you can have the legendary spring drive. Build on top of that a watch that has an incredible case with Zaratsu polishing. You have your breathtaking dials that have pushed the industry into new places. The only complaints I've ever heard about Grand Seiko regard their bracelets, and even that is something that they're working on and that they're rolling out across the range. I love the fact that Grand Seiko is a relatively new player in watches. The company was created in 1960, which in watch industry terms is basically yesterday. But nevertheless, they draw from a history of traditions in Japan and the timeless nature of the seasons to offer profoundly Japanese watches and a huge experience to their customers. Their boutiques give such a Japanese experience that it really is worth going in there just once, just to get the vibe. The brand is getting steadily more expensive. They're pushing Seiko upmarket into a segment that Grand Seiko previously occupied, and you can feel Grand Seiko attacking a space that is far more rarefied and exclusive. My choice would be the SLGA 019, otherwise known as Lake Sewer, which is a gorgeous watch with an incredible water-like dial and a staggering 120 hours of power reserve. It's £9,600 at MSRP, and God bless you if you pay that. The depreciation hits you like a falling piano. I can find a 2025 model with box and papers for £6,000 delivered every day of the week. So there we are. My little run on 5 of the most prominent and impressive watch brands that are out there right now. Do you enjoy the video? Did you like this format? Would you like another 5? Let me know in your comments below, and do respond to me if you disagree with the things that I've had to say. When this video comes out, I'll be capturing more content from an adventure in Toronto. Don't miss out on the videos that come out of that. Hit the subscribe button. It helps me to build the channel and gives me an enormous amount of encouragement. Give me a like. Check out my previous videos. I'll be back soon with some more stuff. In the meanwhile, stay safe, enjoy your watches, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.